Hi, this is Hilda. It's that time of week again. I call it Super Tuesday. I'm here in Stantonburg, North Carolina. A lot of you might not know where it is, but it is a very good town. Over to the right, we have Ed, and you have met him a little bit on my journey, and then we have Deacon Dawson over to the left. He had did an interview already, and he had received a lot of views out there. A lot of people have fell in love with Mr. Dawson. Mr. Ed, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Okay, I was born and raised in Stantonburg. 5 years off at school, 4 being at the University of North Carolina. After graduation, I decided to come back home, help my father. His health was declining, managed the farm. I also, in the interim, decided to start an insurance business as a way to make a living. Well, after 5 years of starving, I finally made it to where I could feed myself and the same office that I started in too many years ago.
Oh, that's good. UNC Chapel Hill, I love those hills, I got some history there myself. Mr. Dawson, why don't you tell us something about yourself?
Well, I'm old country boy raised on the farm, you know. My daddy, we didn't have no farm, we had a sharecrop. And back then they called it on half, and that was sharecropping. That's why everybody was doing back then. That's if you were poor, that's how we had to live. So, but in the end of the year, you live this and that year, cause if you want some money, man, that you have it, but in the year, time you got to pay back, just like you saw when you started.
Well, you had a garden and a pig pen so you could eat.
There you go.
Okay,
You see,
That's the way it was.
that's right.
this is why I have brought both of them together. You see, Ed is a little bit younger than Deacon Dawson, and I'm just feel like it. This is history right here. We are interviewing them together. Jim Crow era started in the 1800s. It didn't end until 1968. And you all know about my story by now. It's a true story of my life, how blacks and whites are raised in the same house with the Ku Klux Klan. But it didn't matter. We were brought up as a family and we learned to respect each other. And I feel like there is a difference now in the way that this world is going. What you think about that, Ed? You think there's a difference in the way this world is going?
Yes, but it's hard for me to just really give you a reason or explain it, and that people think differently, have prejudices on both sides, and it's just different. People are not as homogeneous as they used to be.
So you think that like we're
think,
going further apart?
I think there's a wide abyss between. I think the same is true among the white race, and as Brother Dawson says, is true in the black race. The higher echelons don't want to deal with the lower echelons.
There you go.
And it's stratification, as we've talked about a lot.
Well, I agree with you on that. Mr. Dawson, what do you think? Do you think that there is a big division going on now between the whites and the minorities? What do you think about that? What do you think is the main problem going on? Because, every morning I can, sometimes tears come to my eyes because it seems like there's a lot of hatred out there.
Well, I look at it this way. You ain't got no money, you in bad shape. If you ain't got no money, they call you down here. The person that got the money, they stands up because that money control the world. I don't seen that.
Sadly, it does. It's not
Money
the
control
way
the
it
world.
should be,
Yeah.
but it's
That's the way you go.
you're on target. You're on target.
Yeah, it ain't right, but that's the way it is.
Yep.
You got that money, you can do most anything you want to do and get by with it.
Except,
But you ain't got no money.
except by good health.
I tell people that every day.
All right.
That's the important thing in your life, your health. I learned that a few years ago.
It depends on where we put our values.
There you go.
Well,
Be
they
poor,
Right.
be poor and have good health, or
There
be
you go.
rich and have bad
That's
health.
right. Right.
I'll take the first choice.
Well, there is a big difference out there. I tell you, it seems like there is a great division going on in this world. Just the other day, I heard, I was at work actually, and I was looking at some things, and some people walked into my office, And there was a situation in Raleigh where they said that this lady walked up because I think that she thought they were a little lighter in this high end restaurant like you all talking about now, and they
The
said that
ones
she
we don't
walked
go
in.
to.
They said one of y'all don't go to. But she was there, and she walked up to them, and this sort of there was an altercation, and she called them stupid niggers, and I almost passed out right in my office. It's sad that we feel like we can go up and disrespect people in that way. What you all think about that?
Well, it's entirely uncalled for.
Mm-hmm.
And she just flew her true colors when she made such a statement in public.
You are so right.
Sometimes your thoughts are better kept to yourself.
You said it right.
If she
all
thought
the time.
that, keep it to herself.
Mm-hmm.
You need
They
to
just speaking that, you
know
know.
when to hold them, when to fold them.
I know when to hold, when to fold.
Yeah, because
You
we
said it right.
all get upset, you know. We
Yeah,
we
yeah.
just gotta learn to respect each
Yeah.
other. There's that word respect. Do you all feel like we going backwards though? Seems like we going backwards. We was moving forward one time, but in this day and time, it just feel like we moving backwards. What do you all think about that?
I really don't think we're going forward.
I can't see it.
We might be treading water, but we're not going forward.
Why do you think we going backwards? Do you?
That's the question that we've talked many a time, and you haven't taped it, but we can't find. We can define the problem. We can't come up with a solution.
Yeah.
I think when you use the word mutual respect, you can't get away from that word.
Yeah, I just believe you should respect everyone.
Irregardless of his color or how
You
much
are
money
so
he's got
right.
in the pocket.
You are so right.
There are two definitive
Mhm.
lines that separate
Yeah.
things, you know, color, social status, etc., which really doesn't amount to a hill of beans, does
Yeah.
it? Well, we just made the premise a while ago,
There you go.
be poor and have good health, the rich and have poor
There
health.
you go.
That's right.
That's a no-brainer for
So
anybody.
it is called. If you wealth and you got plenty of money, you gonna want to spend it all anyway. Cause somebody's gonna get it. They take care of you.
You're trying to put it in the casket, and there ain't room for it.
No way.
Well, do you all think, okay, so do you all think, though, if you think about it, there is, even though we talked about this before taping, if you think about it, when you walk somewhere, even though it's visible, we can't see it, you do have for black zoning, for white zoning, for Latino zoning. It's like that, it's not there, but we know it's there, even though we enter anyway. What you all think? Do you all agree with that? Do you think that there is it's kind of like invisible, you don't see it?
That's your social strata that we were talking about earlier. It's not written on the door, but a man with $10 in his pocket is not going to go in a $50 restaurant.
Sure ain't.
I mean, he's got a little sense, right?
That's common sense.
Thank you for the edification on it. Yes, sir.
Well, that is true. I think if we can overcome that, we'll be better off. Sometimes I feel the place I was raised here in Stantonburg, I feel like when I became an adult and I moved out, is this when I really realized that there was a different color in my skin. To be honest with you, being raised back there in that dunny hole was like I was in a twilight zone because my granddad, he just brought us up that there is no difference. And when I became into an adult, as I grew into a teenager and became adult, I realized there is a somewhat different. But now I'm feeling like there's a big difference because of what's actually going on.
That's interesting.
Yeah, he raised us.
You were saying a lot of the things that I have told you in the first interview.
Yeah.
When I was a child, I just noticed certain people's skins was different than mine.
Yeah, you don't
It
really.
didn't really enter into my thinking what it was, and it's been called to my attention.
Yeah, when you
in
get
my
older.
later years,
Yeah.
like you're talking
Yeah.
about that. I never saw that back then.
I know it was so much. It's just so different here. I tell Mr. Dawson all the time, and I did a lot of research. I went all the way back to the 1800s. I did a lot of research in this small town here in North Carolina, and the way I was raised, it's like we wasn't taught to hate Just because of the color of your skin. And people look at me a little different when I tell them it is a true story the way I was raised in the same home and everything with the Klansmen. They were like, what? But then as I explained to them, then they get a better, I understand. So now the key to it, when we survived in that house by ourselves, even though their values was different, we respect each other. Even though their values was different, we prayed together. We ate together. We worked together. Well, sort of worked together. My dad would never let me go. I want to always go with the men early in the morning at 4 o'clock because I want to figure out what they were doing. But he would always tell me to go cook. And I don't care about cooking.
He did you a favor.
He did.
You still can't cook.
Well,
No, I can't care nothing about cooking.
sometimes you need a little separation.
Yeah, oh yeah.
The
Yeah,
women don't need to go with the men to
There
the
you
poker
go.
game.
I know.
Right.
But
To the drinking party.
yeah, but I was so young there, and I just couldn't believe it. But
Yeah, he did you a favor. You need to thank him.
yeah, but it's amazing, and that's why I turned out the way that I did, where I can talk to anyone, I can interact. It doesn't matter. I just love people. I don't
You're
care what
open-minded.
was. Yeah, I'm very. You have to be open minded,
You
especially
can't
now.
close your mind to something that's different. You've got to look at it, accept it for what it is.
Yeah.
Because you're not going
Yeah.
to change it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to change it.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what y'all think some of y'all memorable moments coming up as a child? What are some of the memorable moments that's good, and what's if you could think of a bad one, fine. But what is the good and the bad coming up as a child?
All right, I'm going to start out. When I came along, you were a little bit ahead of me. Nobody had any money.
You're right.
My mother used to go to the store right over there and buy sugar, and she'd take a rationing coupon out. This was in World War II, and tear a stamp out, gave it to the guy, and he'd sell her the sugar. Now, she still paid for it, but it was on allocation. War was going on, sugar was scarce. Same thing with tires. My father had the same car he had before the war. He drove it till 1949. You couldn't get cars.
I know, right?
Nobody had money.
What kind of car was that?
Black, white, indifferent.
Was it a Ford or a Chevy?
Pontiac.
A Pontiac.
That's what it was. Funny.
I don't know why he always liked Pontiacs.
You like Pontiacs?
He always
Okay.
drove Pontiacs.
Okay.
What about you, Deacon Dawson? What is a good moment for you when you was a child being brought up under the Jim Crow era?
You know what? I think about it right today. See, we was on the farm out there, and I grew up. Was the guy this time I got big enough to go. We had to walk to school. Cause back then we didn't have the bus. The white were riding, but we was walking. When I come up, the white was riding, we were walking, and
Okay. I see. I wasn't aware of that.
yeah, white were riding.
I know it was separate schools.
Yeah, the white were riding, and we were riding. They ride by us, spit on us, throw dirt, paper at us, those kind of stuff like that. And it was just tough. And
Do you feel, excuse me, Deacon? So, because of the fact that they was, and I had asked you this before, because they was riding, you were walking, they spit on you and all that.
yeah,
How did that make you feel? I mean,
Yeah,
did it feel less than a person, or did you just feel like they were children, didn't know what they was doing?
well, it make you feel. Back then, it make you feel evil about it, cause they were riding, you were walking. It make you kind of evil, but
That's not as bad
Yeah.
as spitting on you, throwing rocks at you,
Yeah.
things like that. Now,
Yeah.
that's a little different.
Yeah.
But as I growed up and got older, I understood, when you're a kid, you do kid things, but you grow up, you mind mature and everything, you see things
All right,
different.
where did they get
Huh?
those feelings? Where did they get those feelings?
They hadn't given them home.
Amen. There you go.
That's right. That's good right there.
I was picking you, but I thought I knew what you were going to
Yeah,
say.
I tell so many people, when you see a bad kid, go back home, look at his parents, you see where he come from.
People have to be taught
Mm-hmm.
hatred and prejudice.
Mhm.
I don't
That's right.
think a normal person
That's right.
conjures that up
They
in the
don't.
mind.
They don't. That's where it come from.
They're taught.
Come from the
Or
parents,
it's required, but who
Uh-huh.
they associate with, et
Yeah.
cetera, et cetera.
That's right.
Okay.
That is true, because I won't talk hatred.
Yeah.
Like what we're talking about, I won't talk the hate, and I I don't know. I don't remember ever being called out of my name or just being called a nigger or whatever you want to call it. I just don't remember. Never happened to me. But
Well, you are blessed that you don't remember it. Okay.
yeah. I just did. I just told you back then that Dunny Hole. It was just different. Well, Mrs. Dawson, I just gotta ask you this. I asked you that before. Did that make you have ill feelings? When did you feel like there was a changeover for you as an adult? You know, by being spit on and all of that.
Well, like I said before, as I got older and my mind matured and I looked at things different, I just thought, when you're a child, you do childish things, that your parents taught you that. But when you go and know better, then you do that. Then you change your own self, you see that ain't the right way to do it, so you just change.
To put it another way, you didn't harbor a grudge.
There you go.
Yeah, that's true.
Don't feel that way. I'm not going to be that way.
There you go.
That's right. That's right. And you have to kind of look over people because when you're children, you just do crazy things. You don't realize you're hurting people. You're just being taught whatever you're being taught at the house.
Yeah.
What is some of the good things you can remember as a child?
Well,
What you got to tell me as a good moment in your life when you interacted with people of different colors?
Well, when I first got after I left the farm, after I I got married and I left the farm and I worked at a service station for about 2 years and I said, this ain't gonna do it. So I moved on out to went to the hospital out there and filled out application out this sanitary. That's where I started working at. So that's where my career ended.
In Wilson?
Yeah, sanitary. That's where I worked all my life, I worked there 29 years, So that's where I retired from out there. So I thank God for the blessing I really do, cause I know it could have been the other way, Could have been different. I could have got a better job, but I liked the job, I liked what I was doing in the nursery out there. I liked what I was doing.
You were happy and content with what you were doing.
Right, I like what I was doing.
I can tell you're a people's person. You were helping people, dealing with people.
Yeah.
And contentment is all of it.
I like what I was doing.
You don't need to move to that $5 million a year job and be bored to tears.
A lot of my friend went to Firestone, I didn't go, I stayed there. I could have went to Firestone, made a whole lot more money, but I like the benefits out there. I worked my life, I wanted to work, and it had nobody bother me.
You were happy.
I was happy, enjoying
and
work.
content.
There you go.
That's all of it.
Yeah, just like you were happy and content being here in Stantonburg, North Carolina. So have you seen a lot of people move here, or
No.
is it same?
As people die out, nobody wants to move to a small town.
That's right.
And my friends in the bigger cities will look at me like, what in the world are you doing going back there? Well, I'm happy.
Yeah.
That's the key right there. Happy.
It
You
was
were
my
happy.
place. I could see the handwriting on the wall that I was needed here, and I made a living. Not as much as a lot of people made, but maybe I don't need as much.
There you go.
You get by if you don't put your needs higher than you can attain.
That's where it started right
You
now.
can be a success lower down the ladder.
That's where it started right
All
now.
right. Okay.
So do you think? So this Stantonburg is more like to me. I tell people all the time I'm from Andy Mayberry kind of town. Because everybody kind of know everybody, pretty much, except for the
I don't
new
know as
people.
many people as I used to because the people that move in are not the same people that you knew coming up. It's sort of like, it's just different.
Sure do.
People they're not natives of here.
Right, so it's a real different feel.
It's a small transient town, if you will.
Yeah.
Back then, most people were related to somebody in one way or another.
That's
You
right.
know that.
That's right.
And it was basically closed to outsiders.
Yeah, that is true.
I don't mean that from a
but it's the
separation
truth.
standpoint.
It's the
That
truth.
unless you had a reason to come back here like I did,
Yeah.
you wouldn't come.
Yeah.
I had a vested interest.
Yeah, that is true. I was doing some research at the library, and I was talking about, how the water. I was looking at how the water rise, over here on the bridge,
Yes.
about 8 foot high, and it was showing this little boy. This is in the book. It shows this little boy standing there with this great big fish, and Freddie called a carp. I think
Carp.
that's yeah.
Carp.
And it was about, I guess, 4 feet long. He wasn't that little, but he was a small child. And they were saying that in this area, they just don't allow people to go onto this land to do fishing or whatever, because some people, like the idea of catching those fish that grow so big. So it is like a private little town. And that's why it was easy for me. I was missing for a while, I travel, but I could go back to the Shingletons. I can go back to the Lancaster,
You were going back. You were going
I was
home.
going back. I
Yeah.
knew,
Yeah.
and it was like everybody knew everybody, so it was easy for me to go and sit down and talk to them. So, what can you tell me about the Dunny Hole? Do you know anything about it?
I know where the Dunny Hole is.
Yeah.
I've been down it 3 or 4 times. There's a gate up there now. You
Yeah.
don't go down
Yeah.
as far
I
as-
go down there
as
now.
far as
They
you used
open
to.
it up
Yeah.
for me.
Yes,
Mhm.
yes.
Do you feel strange in the Dunny Hole? They said a lot of mystery back there.
I don't believe in a lot of that stuff.
Yeah, that's what Freddie
That's conjured
said.
up in your mind.
That Freddie, that's what Freddie said. You know Freddie, don't you?
Know it very well.
He's a good guy. I
Yeah,
like
he
him.
is a good guy.
He'll tell it like it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is. He don't cut. He don't cut corners. He don't dress it up. He don't do any of it. Well, before we end, if you could, I asked you this before, if you could make this world a better world, if you were president of the United States,
Ooh,
I put you in that seat
I'll
right
rue
now.
that day. But
What will you do to change this world to get it back on course? If you were president of the United States.
I think we mentioned in the first interview, if you could remove hatred, jealousy, and envy from people's hearts, the world would be much better off.
You think you could bring the people together?
You can't legislate that.
Yeah, yeah.
So
You can't. It
therefore-
got to be in your heart.
Therefore, the president or anybody can't
Yeah.
legislate what's in somebody's heart.
Mhm. Yeah,
You got to get that in church, don't
that's
you?
right.
Amen. Amen.
Okay.
Do you think if you could write an open letter to the president of the United States right now, with all going on in the world, and you a politician? We talked about politics before.
I have political views, but I'm far from being a politician.
What is there anything you would like to put in a letter if you could write him?
That's a broad subject. I'm gonna have to say I couldn't think of anything. It's an unenviable task, even to think about wanting that job, much less having it.
Amen.
I don't think you could pay me enough money or chase me fast enough to
Just
give it
get
to
it.
me. So I'm gonna stay out of that area. I don't know. That's above my IQ level. I'm gonna leave that one to
What
you.
about you, Mr. Dawson?
I'm not a politics person. Be straight up with you. A lot of times you don't hear me talk about politics. I don't get into that.
Yeah, he don't like talking
I don't
about
get into that.
politics.
I don't get into it.
Probably better off.
I don't get
Yeah.
into it.
Yeah, I just to sum it up, that's beyond me, because you just don't really want to get into something like that, because you never know how people take it and twist it and twist
Yeah.
it and twist it and twist it
Yeah.
to something that they wanted to say,
Yeah.
and that is not even what you said.
That's the reason I don't watch national news.
Oh, okay.
I want the truth.
You call
I'm not gonna get it on national news. I'm gonna be told what I want, what they think I need to know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I really have enjoyed this interview. I'm glad you all got a chance. Like I say, you already met Deacon Dawson. He's already out there, and Mr. Ed, he's out there too. He don't like me to say Mr. Ed, but that's the way I was raised. It's respect. See, you see me. You just gotta respect people.
I can see respect. You just don't have to use the Mr. It makes me feel old.
They make good old.
Am I right, Tom?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You think last time I called her Miss Parker, I said, I give respect, but when I'm talking to it on I call it Hilda.
Yeah.
But when I around people, I call Miss Parker. You know?
Yeah,
I
okay.
like to drop these titles. You
Yeah.
got a first name
Yeah.
basis.
Yeah, but see, back in the day, though, if you didn't address people right, you might end up on the floor.
Yeah.
So you
That's
know,
fine.
Yeah.
if you didn't say Mister or Miss, you
I'll
might
just
end
raise
up
you
off
to
the
respect,
floor.
You know?
You can tell that I'm not that way.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
just the opposite. Don't
Yeah.
call me.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate it. I'm looking forward to it. I have to come back and at least come back every now and then. 'Cause I come this way, even if I just throw my hand up at you, Miss Ed, I come
You're
back.
welcome anytime. And my door, by the way, you have to kick it sometimes.
Yeah.
I knew
It is.
the problem you were having. It swells up. It changes moods like people do. So
Yeah.
Miss Ed, do you have anything in the 1800s? You know, anything to share with the world? Maybe you think about it, and when I come back this way, maybe you could think of a photo or something. Could be of your dad or, you know, anything you.
Going back kind of far.
Mr. Ed is a comedian too. You know, 'cause he looked like. Now we did that before 6 beers
Yes.
and after 6 beers.
Yes.
And we're going to end this with these 6 beers. And we did that before. We got thousands and thousands of people.
So Thomas never has seen it, so it's going to be a treat for
Yeah,
him.
it'll be a treat for him. Now, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. It is a good channel. And continue this journey with me. It is a journey that you will never forget. Look at that photo right there. Mr. Ed, there go Ed to the right.
Or you
and
going
Deacon
to
Dawson,
take it down and hold it up.
if you want to the left. You want to do that? Okay, he is going to bear with us
I'll
for
tell
a
you what.
second.
I can put 2 copies and make 2 copies, and each one of you can have one.
Yeah, I'm going to take that to work. Do not forget to subscribe. Click subscribe. Continue this journey. You can contact me through valuable coins
Don't you look like that's
at gmail23
before.
at gmail.com. Come on, Mr. Ed, share this again.
All right.
All right, so take a good look at that
That's before 6 beers.
before 6 beers.
Now this is after 6 beers. Close your eyes just a minute. See what after 6 beers will do?
So those of you that drink beer, so maybe when you drink that 6th beer, you can remember to look at what Ed have for you.
It's really an illusion, but anyway.
That's a mess, I tell you.